In this episode, Jim and I are going to talk through what I thought was a gut feeling that he had when purchasing the Kia franchise. And he talks me through the exact moves that he made to go from Suzuki to Kia to now his kids owning several Toyota dealerships. So stay tuned. This is a really riveting conversation between Jim and I. He gets into some high points, some low points. We role play, which is one of my favorite things to do with Jim. And we show you scenarios of what it looks like to actually plug in your process as you move forward in your business or sales growth. Thanks so much. Enjoy.
How you can be the greatest salesperson on the planet.
Welcome to the Rethink Sales Show. My name is Derek Kelly. I'm joined by Jim Shorkey.
Ooh, that was a hard one.
That was a good one. And Marshall's in the back.
Marshall's there.
We may fire some
Marshall's
comments.
in the house.
Marshall. Jim, you are usually one that is so data focused. You're focused on the numbers. You're focused on the process, right? That is you through and through. But I remember you telling me a story of when you had purchased Kia, and Kia was often sold to people who didn't have a great credit score. But you were confident that you could take Kia from maybe a low credit buyer brand to something that was a little different. You're usually not a trust your gut kind of guy, but you really trusted your gut and that worked out. Yeah. Why do you think that was?
First of all, you got it wrong. I was already a really successful Suzuki dealer.
Okay.
And we were in the top 5 in the nation for selling Suzukis in terms of volume. And we were really successful. And so what I did, which is what I teach, I plugged my Suzuki formula into the Kia brand. And way back when we first got Suzuki, to your point, we treated it as your credit's not so good kind of a brand. And that's how we branded it. And my advertising agent, Frank Marmion, who has since passed away, he was actually my dad's advertising agent. And when my dad died and I was in bad financial difficulty, I had to let Frank go. And in the midst of everything, I was doing this thing with Suzuki, the credit, we'll get you financed thing. I thought, I just decided I wanted to make a change. And so I called Frank out of the blue and I said, Frank, I got this idea. And he came in. I told him the idea and we discussed it. And he came in with a presentation. And he said to me, I can remember this like it was yesterday. He said, Jim, you know what? I always liked the way you answer the phone. I answered the phone from Zig Ziglar. What a great day. This is Jim Shorkey speaking. And actually, when my dad was living, it was Jim Shorkey Jr. So it was, what a great day. This is Jim Shorkey Jr. speaking. And then the customer would say what they said. That was how I addressed the customer. It wasn't hello. It wasn't, this is Jim Shorkey speaking. It was, what a great day. This is Jim Shorkey Jr. speaking. He said, Jim, I always like the way you answer the phone. I think we can make a campaign around that idea. And he had the circle that you'll see. The What a Great Day circle. That was Frank. And the colors and everything. And he does this presentation. And I said to Frank, I said, listen, Frank, I'm a car salesman. What do I know about advertising? I don't know what to tell you. I said, I'm in. I said, if it works, we'll keep doing it. So we started this thing. And it took a day, a week, a month, we kept at it, pounding it. A week, a month, a few months. And it blew up like I could never have imagined. And we became the top 5 Suzuki dealerships in the country. And so now I have an opportunity, to get Kia. And so I plugged my Suzuki formula in. Now, you said, well, it was gut instinct. No, it wasn't gut. It was proof. It's exactly what I teach. It's exactly what you teach. Find somebody who is successful at what you want to do. They have to have credentials and then have a conversation. I was the guy. I was successful at what I wanted to do with Suzuki. Logically speaking, Marshall, why wouldn't it work with Kia in the same way? So I launched the same thing. I swear, this is a true story. You've heard the story, but I'm going to tell it again. So I do that. Like with Suzuki, days, weeks, months, it doesn't work. It takes time. And so I'll never forget this. Luke Kim, who was one of the big wheels with Kia at the time, comes into my office, says, Jim, you got to change your advertising. This isn't working. I said, Luke, I'm not changing. I'm not going to change. I know this is going to work. I already know it's going to work. And I'm going to keep doing exactly what I'm doing, exactly what I want to do, and it's going to work. Well, lo and behold, we ended up being one of the top, 10, 20, whatever, big Kia dealer. I'm at the National Kia Dealer meeting somewhere, Las Vegas, whatever. And we're doing really well with Kia. We're selling in that 300 to 400 Kia a month type thing. I don't remember exact numbers, but it was a big number. And Luke Kim comes up to me, tears in his eyes, apologizing to me. He says, Jim, I am so sorry. I said, I can't believe that I tried to talk you out of your plan. I am so sorry. I said, Luke, come on. You did what you thought was right. I knew I was right. There was no doubt in my mind. And here we are. And he's a close friend. And I knew where he was coming from. And he was right. We were spending, I don't know, if you did the math, a couple grand a car on advertising. That doesn't work so well.
Yeah, when you're
bad idea. You need to spend a couple grand a car times 20 is 40 grand, but then sell 400 or whatever, and then it works. At 20, doesn't work. You're losing money. And he was right, but I knew that I was more right.
It was good because I was asking you about, hey, do you have this gut instinct? I didn't know all the facts
it wasn't, okay.
about getting Kia, and you got into Suzuki and then into Kia.
Yeah.
And you plugged in your formula.
I did.
I didn't recognize that part.
I plugged in my formula, and by the way, still are. The kids now, they've changed the jingle around.
Sure.
It's their message. Mine was what a great day. Their message is your deal, your way, what a great day. And still the moniker, different jingle.
Yep.
And it carries on. But that was Frank Marmion. Yep. And that was based on me calling him to make my Suzuki business better. So it wasn't gut instinct. Truly, it wasn't.
Yeah.
The only gut instinct would have been if it worked over here, it ought to work over there. But I was talking to a good friend of mine yesterday. And I asked him, and I'm coaching him, I said, what is your greatest success in the history of your life? When he gives me this, whatever, I said, come on, go deeper. Go deep, come on, go deep. And it makes me emotional. I apologize. But I pushed him. I push people. If you want to get hooked up with Jim Shorkey, get ready to get pushed. I'm a pusher. So I pushed and pushed. And I finally said, and I knew that he had lost a lot of weight at one time, and I'm not going to get into numbers. But I said, let me ask you a question. What did you weigh at your height? And the number blew me away. I couldn't believe it. But he gave me the number. And what do you weigh now? Okay. How much weight did you lose? Okay, we did the math. I said, that is incredible.
Yeah.
How in the heck did you do that? And he gave me a few things. I said, listen, you now know how to achieve any goal. So if you want to sell more stuff, do the same thing. No, it's not eating blueberries and grapes. I get that. But in your day-to-day operations, what are your blueberries and grapes that you need to be doing, consuming, whatever? What are those steps? What's on your to-do list? What's on your to-not-do list? Sometimes the expert counsel that you're looking for is yourself. And that's the point of your question. So it wasn't gut instinct. I was the expert counsel. I already did it. So I didn't need to go talk to the Kia dealers. Remember, you have to have credentials. Did I have the credentials?
Yeah, you have the experience.
I had the
Suzuki,
credentials. I
right?
did.
And other brands.
And so why wouldn't I take the same exact thing? And so from there, we did get other franchises. And we actually got another Kia dealership, believe it or not, because we did so well.
Yeah.
We got another Kia dealership. And we got a Chrysler dealership when I was still there. And we got Mitsubishi when I was still there. And Ford. And I just kept doing the same thing. The same thing. And guess what? It worked every single time. So if you have, when I left, it was 5 dealerships. My dad was 1. When I left, it was 5. It's now over 20.
Yeah.
So you've heard this, right, Marshall? If you keep on doing what you've been doing, you're going to keep on getting what you've been getting. What if that's true? Why would you change something that is working? What's the reason? It just doesn't make any sense. The only reason you would want to change it is if you wanted to change your results and you seek extra counsel. You say, here's what I'm getting now. You might adjust this, adjust that, do some mini pivots and this and that, and then you modify your plan. But if you like your results, which I did,
Yeah.
I'm going to keep on rolling. My results got me the opportunity to get the Chrysler Group store. My results got me the opportunity to get Ford. And I'll never forget it. I'm driving down the road, and this Kia opportunity was talked about. And it was like I wasn't even part of that. And I said, I'm confused. I'm the biggest Kia dealership around. Why am I not being talked to about this? I didn't think you'd be interested. You thought wrong. I'm very interested. I didn't know that. My apologies. Forget about it. It's yours.
Wow.
Just like that.
Yep. Yeah.
I got another Kia dealership because I asked, I was aware, and I had the results. So what do you think when I went to the Kia dealership in Uniontown? What do you think I did?
Plugged in your process.
Plugged in the formulas.
Yep.
Several processes.
Yep.
Same thing.
Yep.
Same thing.
Jim, I've never heard that story in that much detail. It was great to hear the way you recognize, okay, here's where I was Suzuki. I think we could do this with another franchise or another brand. And then we got some pushback. Okay, I'm committed still doing this, right? I'm still doing it. And then you saw results and had some more opportunities. That's really encouraging to you guys who are listening, who are salespeople or entrepreneurs. If you're seeing something work, keep moving in that momentum. Momentum, you think about the analogy of a train, right? They say a train can't move if there's 3 or 4 quarters in front of its wheels. But if it has momentum, it can crush through a brick wall. Yeah. And so for many of you, it's look at your life or look at your business. It's like, where do you have momentum and how do you keep building? Oh, I don't have any momentum. Well, do simple first. What can you do today? I got to go put my running shoes on and
get them on.
Walk 5 minutes. Okay.
Get them on. Get them on.
Walk 7 tomorrow. Walk
Get them on.
7 for 3 days.
Lace them up.
Then walk 15, right? Start building that momentum.
And I tell you one more story.
Go ahead.
Here I am, Jim Shorkey, doing what I do, and we decided as a group that we wanted to pursue the Toyota franchise. So we figured out who we would talk to, made the contact, and we actually had an interview with Toyota. And I'm going to leave a lot of detail out of it, but I'm going to leave one detail in. Just suffice it to say that we wanted to get Toyota. So the fella comes in, and we're talking. He says, I was in a meeting in California, and they're talking about this person in Irwin, Pennsylvania, who's selling all these Suzukis. He's selling more Suzukis than we're selling Toyotas. Who is this guy? And this guy from Toyota, I forget his name. He said, you're that guy. I said, I know. He said, I drove by. You got, what do you have, 500 Suzukis on the ground? Something like that.
Yeah, because you used to say, I remember you used to say in one of your radio messages, say, we have them up the road.
Did.
It just, I can picture it.
We
right?
did. It's true. And so, he says, you're that guy. So they were talking about you in a meeting in California. Okay? And we didn't get it. We got turned on. Hold on. I got other things to do. I got the Ford dealership or whatever. Other stuff to do. How many Toyota dealerships do the kids have now? 2. Did it work? Yeah, it did. And you know what? The fellow that came in still tells that story. I remember a good friend of mine was in my think tank, John Amato. He was a really cool guy, smart guy, knew more than I knew. Just a really bright guy. I learned a lot from this guy. And he was the type of guy that would go visit the different dealerships in the group. And so he arranges to come in and he wants to visit the dealership. And so he comes in and he sits at the desk. I'm at the desk. And guess what I'm doing at the desk? I'm making phone calls, man. This is my good friend, John Amato. I don't have time for you, John. I'm working the desk. I'm running my business.
Yeah,
and he's there watching.
Right.
So we go to the next meeting and John's there. He says, guys, you got to go see this. He says, I thought this dealership was on a big auto row in the middle of a busy area. I drove from the airport to Jim's dealership. He says, it's not. He said, you go over hill and dale and up and down and in and out. It's not. He said, and you can't believe what this guy does.
Yeah.
Got to go see this. He said, it's unbelievable. This guy's the real deal. And he's there. I'm John Amato. He is working his butt off, calling back the customers. And they all learned from years of hearing me do this. Different people, different vendors, different factory people. They learned my phone call because it was the same phone call every single time. Do you want to role play with it right now? Do we have time?
Yeah.
So I'm going to call you right now.
Yep.
You're a customer.
Yes.
Okay. Ring.
Hey, Derek here.
Hey, Derek, how you doing? This is Jim Shorkey. Did I interrupt anything important?
No, this is a good time.
Listen, the reason I called is I saw you stopped in our dealership yesterday, Jim Shorkey Family Auto Group, to look at a brand new Kia. And I wanted to thank you very much for stopping in. I really am appreciative of that. So thank you so much. Secondly, I saw you were talking to Marshall, and I wanted to ask you, how did Marshall treat you?
Oh, he did great. We were looking at the 2025 Kia Carnival, and he really made sure to took care of things for my family and I.
Wonderful. I'm so glad to hear that. Now, did he give you a price while you were here?
Yeah, he said the van starts at 36 for the basic level package and goes up about 42 for some of the higher end trim features. And we were right in the middle. We were leaning on the middle model.
How do you feel about the price quote?
I think it's pretty good, really competitive. And you guys offer things that some of the other dealerships I went to didn't have. You guys do some extra service. You guys, it seems like you guys are really thinking about me.
It's very important. My father and mother started this business back in 1974. So we're 50 years in the business now as a company, a little over 50. And we value you very much. And that's why I'm calling you directly myself, because I am so grateful that you stopped in. And so when do you want to come get your new car?
I just have a couple questions for you.
Shoot.
I think my trade-in was maybe worth a little bit extra. Could I come in and talk with you or Marshall again to see if we could get a little bit?
Okay, so let's talk about that. What did Marshall give you for your car?
I have an older van that's maybe 5 years old, and he gave me about like 10. I was thinking it was worth more like 12, but I'd be happy to meet it somewhere like 11. But I understand you guys you can't always just change your price.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a difficulty because we give you the best price we can right up front. So you're saying basically right now, if I understand correctly, we're giving you 10, you want 11, and so we're $1,000 apart.
Right.
Any wiggle room on that?
I think even $500 or $700 would be great. So
final question. If I can get this price $500 better, would we have an agreement?
Yes.
Let me do this. If I could, let me do some quick homework. Let me talk to the used car appraiser. Let me see if this is a possibility. And can I do that and call you back in, let's say, 5-7 minutes?
Sure.
Okay. You see the difference.
Yeah.
And those of you who know the Jim Shorkey Family Auto Group and know the group when Jim Shorkey was there, you got this call, didn't you? You did. And I still get compliments on that. You were the only guy that called me back. And I couldn't believe that you, Jim Shorkey, actually called me back. I'll be somewhere random at a car show. Hey, and they would say it. Just remember way back when you called me back and we made a deal right over the phone. And I was so appreciative of that.
Yeah.
Does it have to be so complicated and so hard?
It's people to people.
Okay. I'm calling you back now.
Hey, Jim.
Yep. Hey, got great news, man. I got you $10,200 for your van.
You know what, Jim? Seems like you guys are really going to take care of us. I'll take the deal.
Good. Let me get this started.
Okay.
I'm going to have Joe Schmo call you. We'll get all your information over the phone. That way, when you get here, the paperwork's all drawn up. Everything's done. We have an agreement.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm going to pull the car out of the line and put your name on it.
Yep.
So I don't want to deny anybody else if you aren't sure.
Sure.
So you feel pretty confident?
Yes.
Let's go.
All right. I'll see you in a little bit.
A little different, huh?
Yes.
A little different.
Because you took that time, right?
Yep.
That makes the extra $200 that I could have saved.
You might have said no.
Right.
Okay. What do you have in mind?
It's $200, Jim. I don't know. It's not
What do
really
you have in
worth.
mind?
I don't have any better ideas.
No, what do you have in mind price-wise?
Oh, if the person was like, hey, I want to go to 10.
No, you're the person. We're role-playing. We're live.
All right, Jim, I'd rather
I said 10-2. You had said 10-5.
Okay, let's go to 10-4.
Okay. You're tough, brother.
Then it feels like I'm
Let me tell
haggling.
you something. You're tough.
Yeah.
You're tough. All right. I'll take one more. At 10-4, do we have a deal?
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to take executive privilege. I'm making a deal. We get a deal.
Yes.
Air shake.
Yes.
Make it fun.
Yeah.
You think I would do that?
Yeah.
Audience, do you think I would do that? Marshall, do you think I would do that?
Yes.
I can't make this stuff up, and I make it fun. I was talking to Matt, my son-in-law, and now please don't be one of my customers, okay? Be one of my salespeople. But I said, when you give somebody a price and they object to the price, okay, It's not real. It's a joke. So I'll tell you how this works. Okay. The price is 10 grand.
Okay.
I want you to get mad about the price. You're upset about the price.
Okay.
You're going to make me an offer. I give you 10. I say the price is 10 grand and you're going to offer me 9 grand. So do
Okay.
that.
Jim, I really need to be 9 grand out the door. No extra.
Ooh, 9 grand, really? What do you mean? I said to Matt, I said, act like somebody just stabbed you in the chest with a knife. And he laughed. And I got you laughing, didn't I?
Yeah.
Oh, what? It's called flinching. So when this is salespeople, you customers, don't use this trick on me. Don't you dare. It's my flinch. Don't you be flinching on me. Oh, it's called body language. Somewhere around 40, 50, 60% of our communication is what is called nonverbal communication, body language. So let's do it again. Give me my price is 10 grand. You're going to make me an offer.
Okay.
10 grand.
Jim, I can't do that. I got to be 9 grand out the door. I got to walk around.
Oh, man. Really? 9 grand?
Yeah, I just can't do it.
Man, I don't know how I'm going to do that. Is there any possibility of somewhere in between?
Maybe a little bit, man, but I'm sticking to my price.
I can't do your price. I love you.
Okay.
I love you like a brother. But you're hitting me too low. We give you the best price up front. Where am I going to get $1,000 at? Now, maybe if there's an in-between somewhere.
Okay, I could do 9.4.
Man, you're shrewd. You didn't tell me you were going to be this difficult. All right, let me see what I can do.
All right.
At 93, 94, we got an agreement?
Yes.
Let me see what I can do. All right? But I call that flinching. If you say to me 9 grand and I get a big smile on my face and I'm all happy, what do you think?
He's going to do it.
He's going to do it.
Yeah.
I can do this. This is a doable deal. And a lot of times as salespeople, we make that mistake.
Right.
I can do that, so therefore I'm going to relax. This is all about convincing and negotiating. Guys, this is negotiating, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, we are negotiating. And in life, we're always negotiating.
And people think you guys have crazy amount of profit numbers.
Well, don't say that. That's not true. No, they don't. Some people. Don't say that. I hate when you do that.
That's true.
Some people, okay?
Some people think.
Some people, they just want to have confidence that they're getting a good price. And I do really try as an entrepreneur to give them the best price I can up front. But they're negotiating, and so I got to negotiate back.
Yeah,
and
of
it's
course.
just the way it is.
Yeah.
And so they want to try me on. My good friend used to say that. They're just trying you on, Jim.
Yep.
So why not? If I say 10 grand is a good deal and I'm really convinced about that, why not come back at 99? That's what I'm going to do.
Right.
So they're trying me on at 9 grand. I'm trying them on at 99.
Right.
And we keep trying each other on and eventually we come to an agreement.
Yeah,
It shouldn't be very
70,
long and extended. Just let's get it worked out. And they're going to be happy because they're going to feel like they won. And that's what negotiating is all about.
Right.
See, negotiations should end with a win-win. I win, they win. And I am in business. And I have to make a profit.
That's right.
If I don't make a profit, I can't pay my electric
Right.
bill.
That's what sometimes customers don't understand is what I was trying.
That's okay. But at the end of the day, they got an electric bill. They want to save money so they can pay
Yes.
their electric bill. I get an electric bill. I want to make money so I can pay my electric bill. It's the same thing, just in opposite directions. Once we understand that as salespeople and customers and entrepreneurs, it's okay for you to want the best price. Why would it not be okay for me to want the best price?
That's right.
The difference is my best price is higher, your best price is lower. And I think if we talk that way to the client, they understand it. They're smart people. And we just work it out.
Yeah.
And we get to a point that everybody's happy.
Yeah, it's like in real estate. We have a client. They serve both buyers and sellers.
Sure.
Well, sellers want the best price to sell their house, and buyers want the lowest price to buy the house.
Well, if the seller said, I want 100 grand for my house, but realistically, the lower the better. Would you maybe want to call a psychiatrist? I really want to pay 10 grand for the car. I really do. But you know what? The higher, the better. If you make it higher, I'm going to be happier.
Yeah.
If you give me less money for my house, I'm going to be happier.
Right.
That just doesn't make sense.
Right.
And by talking that way to the client, it's like, you're nuts, man. I know I'm nuts. I agree. But isn't that the truth?
Yeah.
Of course you want the lowest price.
Right.
Of course you do.
You're the customer.
Of course I want the highest price for the same reason.
Right.
Just different direction. It's the same thought process.
Yeah.
I got to pay my bills. You got to pay your bills. It's the same idea. And once we get to that understanding, then we can really work it out and get to a win-win.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. Thank you, Jim. Guys, you just heard live role playing of, I know the car market a little bit. So just me saying a car that my wife and I might purchase at some point, and Jim talking through that and going through the back and forth process. And you just heard Jim walk through step by step how he makes those phone calls, right? How he plugged in that process for Kia, how he plugged in that process for Toyota. His kids got Toyota later, so the process might have been slightly different, but they plugged in the process. And you're seeing that from Suzuki to Kia to Toyota, and recognizing that having a clear process is really important, but also working really hard with the right list and the right process is also
And let's close it out with this thought. So if my kids call me today and say, Dad, Billy Bob is off sick and we just lost Joe, so we need somebody to help us out with the follow-up calls. They say, can you come in and help us out? Of course I can. Now, this is a Toyota dealership.
Yep.
What would my phone call be like for the Toyota dealership / Toyota customers?
A lot like your calls with the Kia customers and the Suzuki customers.
No, not true.
Okay.
Not true. Let's see if you can answer it, Marshall. What would my phone calls be like for the Toyota customers? I'm testing you, man.
I'm trying.
All right, I'm not even going to let you answer. It would be exactly the same. Guys, that's the point. It wouldn't be like them. Why would it be like them? You're a Toyota customer now. Hello, is Derek there?
Hey, good to meet you, Jim.
Derek, hey, thank you so much for accepting my call. Did I catch you at a bad time?
No, this works.
Hey, I saw you stopped in yesterday looking at a brand new Toyota RAV4. Thank you so much for stopping in. I really appreciate you coming in. My mom and dad started this business 50 years ago, and we never lost sight of the fact that you're the reason we're here. So thank you for stopping in. I'm grateful. Saw you were talking to Marshall. I want to ask you how Marshall treated you.
He did good.
Did he treat you well?
Yeah.
That's really important to me and my family, so I'm glad to hear that. And did Marshall give you a price while you were here?
Yeah, he gave me a price on the RAV4.
Good. How'd you feel about the price?
It was pretty good. Yeah, I was looking at the basic trim model. It starts about at $29,000.
So you're happy with the price?
Yeah.
So when would you like to come get it?
I just have some questions for you, Jim.
Go ahead.
I just don't know if it's going to have enough space as my wife's pregnant with our fourth child. But the price there is really good. But we might just have to look at a different trim level.
Okay. Meaning bigger.
Yeah. Okay. Or maybe a different model in Toyota's line.
That's what I mean. The trim level's not going to change the
Right.
space.
Yeah.
So we'd have to get to a different model, which certainly we can accommodate you there.
Yeah.
When would be a good time for you and myself and Marshall to get together to take a look at what we have?
Do you have a time on Friday around 4?
Okay, let me check. All right, we're done. Do you see? It's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. It doesn't matter whether it's Toyota, Ford, Suzuki, Chrysler. Doesn't matter. Thank you.
Yes.
How'd we treat you?
Right.
Did we give you a price? It's the same thing. Why would I change it? So when I asked that question, and it was a trick question,
Right.
what would the phone call be like? It would be exactly the same.
Yeah.
Wouldn't change.
Yeah.
Not even a little bit. Exactly the same.
Yeah.
By the way, that question I asked first is, did I interrupt anything important? It's called removing the curse of the call. And I do that. I still do that to this day. If I
Thank
call
you.
anybody,
Yes.
I do that.
If you made it to the end, leave a dolphin emoji in the comments below. I would love to hear your feedback on this episode. I think Jim gave such good wisdom over years of experience. Please share this episode with friends. I think this is a great story of just what it looks like to be in business, what it looks like to be a salesperson, and what it looks like to stay committed to the customer, to the team, and how to keep it very humble. So thank you guys. We'll see you on the next episode.